Yes. Soon enough, you will forget. Good evening, viewers, and thank you for joining us once again for another episode of Prince William by Night, Season 2, The Night Shift. I am David Legan, aka Sylvanov the Dark Druid, and I will be your host and storyteller for the evening. And before we get started, let's go around the table and introduce our players.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael Walsh. I also go by Venture1399 on the interwebs. This evening I shall be playing Carlisle Jacob Milliner.
Hey, I'm Chase, also Black Coffee Chase, playing Jude, Ricardo.
Hello, my name is Mark. You can find me at Painting Plant on Instagram, and I will be playing Luke Lennox for tonight.
Hey everybody, I'm SailIrish on Twitch, and I'll be playing Javier Grillo, also a Hikata.
So last week, we had an occurrence. Mr. Luke Lennox decided to stretch his legs a bit after doing a little bit of research and commit a little B&E. Although I'm pretty sure he didn't exactly understand exactly whose property he was breaking and entering. Found himself quickly locked into a panic room, frenzying, trying to get out, and making it out, but not before scooping up a few questionable items. Some USB sticks stuck in a panic room for some reason, a lockbox, a couple other items. The rest of our coterie, or some of our coterie members, elected to go and retrieve Luke as he had put out the call for help after finding himself locked into an unescapable panic room. We rejoined our characters after a couple of nights have passed, and the first thing I need for everyone to do is a rouse check for the evening, please.
I do not get hungrier.
Excellent. So we have Mr. Milliner. What is your current hunger at?
2.
Jude?
1.
Javier?
3.
Excellent. And Luke?
2.
2. Would you like to rouse the blood and heal some of the wound that you took to your arm?
Yeah, I'd like to try that.
Excellent.
So that's just rolling the rouse dice.
That is correct.
Ooh. So I rolled for getting rid of 2 of my injuries, and I failed 1 and succeeded 1, so I'm now at hunger 3.
That is correct. Luke, you're pretty familiar with your beast, or at least you think you are. You know when it's starting to make decisions for you. This is no different than one of those times, that tickle in the pit of your stomach that says, fucking hurt. You know, that could have gone so much better. You fucking dolt. How'd you get locked in that fucking room? What were you thinking?
Sometimes you just gotta be on the hunt, I suppose. It's my only thought back to it.
Yeah, hunting sounds excellent. Let's go do that right the fuck now.
I can't say argue with it. Luke agrees with his beast very often. So he's willing to go do that.
Excellent. So Luke allows the beast to motivate him, and not for bad reasons. Hunger is bad. Being hungry is bad, especially for kindred. Luke, I imagine you leave your house for the evening having already retrieved a package from Rico in passing at the Three Monkeys, and so you're off to do a hunt. We will come back to you, sir. And that takes us back to the hospital, the Inova Prince William Medical Center, where Mr. CJ Milliner on the 3rd floor has an office, DNR Law Services. If you guys don't get that joke, I'm just disappointed. Mr. Milliner, are you currently in company with anyone else, or are you by yourself?
After conversation at my law office downtown, I would say I would probably be back at the hospital up there by myself. I would have left a message for Jude informing him I have returned, and just probably finishing up some paperwork until I hear back from him or until something else pops up.
Javier, what are you up doing? I'm sorry, Jude, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as soon as he says he's in the building, I'm gonna go up there immediately. I'm still a little annoyed from last time.
Perfect. Javier?
I probably would have bailed to the Haven.
Right. So you've woken for the evening.
I'd probably be looking to head to the hospital.
That beast in you, more like on occasion, a Cheech Marin, kind of sneaking up, born in East LA, little bit of a snide attitude. Hey, Holmes, you fucking eat yet? What about that one right there? That one right there. How about that one? How about that? And it's literally your beast starts pointing out every blood bag that you see. Not really being very picky.
Yeah, I'm going to hop in the car and head to the hospital.
Ignoring the beast, Javier drives over to the hospital. Jude, you let yourself in? Do you knock? It's two different elevators, one to come up out of the basement, one to go up to the other level where his office is.
I'm still gonna knock, but it's gonna be one just one hit at the door.
Got it.
And
I will walk in and immediately close the door behind me.
hello, cousin.
Well, you drugged me away the other night from an important plan. I gotta say, I was very annoyed. Do you know what Luke did?
I have not heard fully. However, I do apologize for having to drag you out. I had imminent business with someone close to me that had to be taken care of urgently.
Well, we have leverage against Luke if we need it. Apparently, he decided it was a good idea to infiltrate a business information deal with Ventru.
The Ventru?
Yeah, that had the symbol in the front of the building.
What gave the dog some type of impersonation to go forth on his own and even engage them?
I don't know.
Was it something possibly by the sheriff?
I'm gonna find out soon.
Have you tried to contact him?
Not yet. I've been working. I've been arms deep in corpses and doing other important things. And also, if I think I would have done unspeakable things to Luke if I would have interacted with him.
I understand.
So are we ready for this meeting?
I'm ready to go whenever you are. If there's any pertinent information that you want me to address, or you wanted to take over full verbiage, it's up to you either way.
You're a well-spoken person.
Is there anything specific besides, obviously, Elysium and our primary purpose here that you wanted me to get across?
Elysium, our primary purpose, the La Sombra, Luke, like all of those things, Javier as well.
So, quickly about Luke, did you know what he was doing at their residence, or what he specifically did in there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Mel was there as well, and Sarah.
Was she volatile yet again?
Not so much, but we'll see.
Okay. All right, well, whenever you're ready to go, and if you want me to drive, I can bring the car around.
I'd appreciate that. Let's leave soon.
Absolutely. I would head downstairs and get the car.
As the two of you exit the elevator at the main floor, you can hear Javier talking to one of the security guards at the front desk, saying that he's there to see Mr. Milliner, or are you there to see Mr. Germain?
There to see Mr. Germain.
So yeah, you hear him, I'm here to see Dr. St. Germain, and the security guard goes through the routine, please sign in the clipboard, and you can hear the little heat printer spitting out a label.
That won't be necessary.
As they walk around the corner from the elevator bay, Javier, you are staring at Mr. Milliner and St. Germain.
Good evening, cousins.
How are you?
Not too terrible this evening. And yourselves?
All right. Just getting things set up for this evening. About to bring the car around. Would you care to hitch a ride?
Happily.
I will bring the car around. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Very well.
A moment, I'm looking something up. Entertain yourselves. Look amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I've been better.
Oh?
And dealing with situation after situation.
The new ones?
Yes.
I have made some progress in my efforts. We'll have to discuss that later.
Luke, can I get a stealth and dexterity from you, please?
Or is this for feeding?
Yes,
Could I use my break-in specialty?
absolutely.
Three successes.
You identify a house of early sleepers. You can see the lights go out in the house as you're prowling the neighborhood. They go out one after the other, and then up to the second floor of the house, the lights go out. We safely assume that they've at least gone to bed. Whether or not they're actually sleeping is another story, but you have found a potential target.
Well, it's just like any other house, I suppose. Any other house I've been in. I creep up wherever I can't be seen.
Backyard.
Make sure that there's some unsecured window or something. Checking
Unlocked
for cameras.
sliding glass door.
Easy. I walk in, and with the keenest sense of my vampiric hearing, I stay absolutely silent still, and I wait till I can hear the rise and fall of shallow, sleeping breaths. And when I hear that, that's when I creep up, almost on all fours, to the side of the bed. I take one that I can see, and with the motion practiced over years and years of feeding, I gently move the covers,
Pause.
unleash my fangs.
Pause. Do me 2 stealth and dexterity checks, please. And you can still
Sure.
use your break-in specialty. It still applies.
This one was 3 successes,
Okay.
and the next one is this one's 2 successes.
Okay. The only thing that you seem to get the attention of is some old hound. You're not sure what breed. It looks like some kind of mutt. Has cataracts in one eye. Looks like it's a bit chewed up in the ears and face, like it's been in a few brawls in its life. Looks old and tired. As you creep to the stairs, it gets out of its bed, walks over to you, sniffs once, looks at you kind of half cocked with its good eye, bares fangs and kind of whoa. It's a labored whoa. But it doesn't make a lot of noise. It's not like he's barking. He's acknowledging that he doesn't like you. The behaviors are clear to you.
I bare my fangs, and I make a slight low growling noise. It's barely perceivable. And I just put my hand on it and try to establish that I'm the one in charge here. I'm supposed to be here. I'm the superior being, and I'm not being aggressive. I'm just establishing that there's a hierarchy here,
So-
and I'm on top of it.
Are you persuading or are you intimidating? Yes,
I'd
there
say
are
I'm-
rules against animals.
I'd say I'm establishing my. I'm kind of approaching this in an animalistic way. I'm establishing I'm like the pack alpha here.
So let's go with charisma and intimidation. As you're not trying to be like really intimidating, but you're trying to establish a pack order.
Could I use animal ken instead?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
That'll be your charisma and your animal kin.
That is 2 successes.
That's enough. It doesn't take the old crotchety hound but a moment to accepts your little head pat and kind of bellies up in front of you, throwing its paws back in a submission. And it, as soon as you stop petting it, he rolls over and crawls back to his little bed next to the front door. You're able to creep up the stairs. You don't find any creaky floorboards or anything. You do identify that there are 2 adults and a child, each in their separate rooms. It is a man and a woman. It's odd that they're sleeping in different rooms, but who knows about their private lives? Which do you go for? The child, the woman, or the man?
I go for the woman.
Excellent. You sneak into the room. On the nightstand, you see an open bottle, clearly labeled Valium. There's probably 3 or 4 on the nightstand next to a great big glass of something white. Clearly, she is out.
Yeah. I'm gonna... Same process as I always do. Gonna creep up, look for whatever the most exposed limb is, a foot, a wrist, anything like that, and I'll gently lift it up, reveal my fangs, and just slowly sink it in. I don't want to alert them. I've learned how to bite somebody without getting them to be roused.
So she's pretty well snuggled into the blankets, but she's got one leg thrown out over the covers. So there's like great big thigh sitting there. Looks like a juicy hawk. Looks like an easy treat.
That's what it is for me.
You feed, you clean up. I assume you lick and at least attempt to get her wounds not to be so visible. How much do you take from her?
I'll take 2. I know that's a safe amount, correct?
It is.
A safe-ish amount.
As long as, you're not doing it at the hospital where God only knows.
No, just 2.
During your feeding process, what you notice is that she's totally into it. Writhing a little bit. She must be having some good dreams because her bob rolled out of her hand and fell onto the floor at your feet. For those of you that don't know who Bob is, that's battery operated boyfriend. I will let your imaginations fill in the blank. So yeah, she totally digs it. It's probably a bit arousing for you that she's into it. But yeah, you got bigger things to do. You've accomplished what you needed, which was to quell that hunger before meeting those guys.
Yeah. As I leave, I make sure to make a note of this house.
Okay.
Luke likes to keep a kind of rotating schedule of the same house as he hits. And he slowly goes off of one and onto the next. He likes to know a place where he knows he can succeed.
That's fair. Everybody does. And off you head, going to meet up with
Mr. Milliner. It's the one I'm supposed to deliver this package to, directly from Rico. So it's high priority, so I need to get it to him.
So do you call him? Do you text him, to try and find out where he's at, or do you just assume that he's at the hospital?
I might send him a text, but I'm probably just gonna not really check it after that, just to see if he's not there or something. I might be able to redirect, but it's kind of an afterthought. Luke's
what's
mind.
your text to CJ?
It's just I have a package from R.
CJ,
I would be bringing the car around at this point. I would be parked in front of the staff entrance at the hospital, waiting on Javier and Jude to finish any conversation they had inside, and my phone would go off and I would check it. And I would text Pack, en route to another location, is there a spot that I can pick you up on the way?
Sure. I'm just I'll send them a street near me, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not worried about being picked up. As long as, well, I'll send a location a bit far.
Uh-oh. Luke is having a technical hiccup. We will pause until that gets corrected. So your internet froze for a minute there, Luke?
Okay.
So I heard that you were going someplace a little farther away from where you were hunting?
Yeah, Luke doesn't like the people to know like where his
hunting
haunts
grounds
are.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get an address or a pair of cross streets. Not hard to Google that up, CJ. Jude and Javier, you see CJ pull up in his Chrysler 300. Chrysler, right?
Chrysler 300. All black, all tinted.
Well, after you.
Very well. I'll get in the car.
Do you keep the ID badge that he printed for you? Or the visitor sticker?
No.
Okay. So yeah, you two walk out, and there is CJ. Do you get out to open doors, or are you just sitting chilling?
I'm just sitting there chilling.
Okay. He is not a chauffeur.
Have you had any more progress with the Mr. White situation?
I have. That's what I mentioned. I've managed to bind his fetter. It's going to take some time to get to completion, though. My initial estimate was over-enthusiastic.
Are you carrying it with you now?
Not if we're going to the meeting.
Okay. Or you could leave it in the car if you had it on you.
Oh, that's true.
So, which is it? You have it or you don't?
Mm.
I have it.
As you mentioned, binding the fetter, you feel a coldness emanate from the wrapped handkerchief in your pocket, and like a slight, almost like an electrical tingle.
Hmm.
I do have a little bit of an occult library, my personal haven. If you need, maybe I could share a book or two.
I would greatly appreciate that. The end goal you may be interested in being a part of, at least in its creation.
What's that?
What do you know of the currency of the dead?
We roll an occult.
Intelligence and occult, sir. Or academics, whichever is better for you.
Yeah. Occult. Can I add my necromancy?
Absolutely.
Specialty?
Absolutely. You know a little something about the dead.
A thing or two. 3 successes.
You have probably heard through your necromantic ways torturing the corpses of the dead to get their secrets and getting them to talk beyond the grave, because you have that special ability to make them feel what you're doing to their dead bodies. It's a unique ability, allows you a lot of control for a moment. You've probably heard whispers among some of your patients of some coin. It's never been really named. It's been hinted at. You've seen glimpses of such a thing in your mind, although it doesn't always seem to be a coin. It's just what they call a coin. But it definitely is talked about in hushed whispers among the dead.
A little bit.
I intend to bring one through the veil.
To what ends?
You guys are talking in the
It's
car
never
now,
been
right?
done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. It's never been done before.
I'll take that with a grain of salt. I feel like there's nothing new under the sun.
Fair, but he is definitely deserving of such a fate.
But I am interested. Although I do think that maybe Mr. White could have some fun tormenting his tormentors.
There are options.
I think that would definitely be a start to recompense for making us all out to be pieces of shit in public. Personally.
I'm very much on board with that.
Go ahead.
The sooner we call them to heel in our own way, the better.
Mr. Milliner seems to be taking a few turns into a middle-class residential neighborhood. Luke, you see the Chrysler 300 pull up towards the front of the neighborhood from your vantage point, just hiding out by a hedgerow.
I walk out and you can see me from the car. Gonna head towards the back and let myself in. Thanks for getting me. Rico wanted me to give this to you, Mr. Milliner. He pulls out a package and motions to give it to him.
You can give it to Jude.
I'm in the back seat as well.
Oh, here you go.
Like, quickly snatch it from you and open it up.
So, are you all going somewhere, or?
We are. We're actually going to a pretty important meeting. Do you happen to have anything you can change into? It wouldn't hurt to have you tag along, but you can't go dressed like that. You'll probably get killed.
Okay. Give me 2 minutes. I can get something.
I'm gonna give you 1.
Okay.
It's that type of urgency.
Gotcha. Okay. Luke is gonna go up to the nearest house and see if he can find like a dresser at the ground floor and just kind of try to open up the window, go through it, grab a nice-ish looking shirt, a tie, and then run out.
Sure. Let's get that Dex stealth and larceny.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna punch in the new address into OnStar.
Okay.
Okay, whoa, 4 successes.
Yeah, this house is not exactly asleep yet. And you kind of do some fancy footwork to avoid running into people. It is a single level home, so it's easy enough to find a bedroom. There's probably a cracked window or one that was slightly ajar that allowed you entry. You guys see Luke run off to like the nearest house, ducks around the side and disappears, reappears just a couple of seconds later with some cloth in his hand and something that resembles a tie as he rushes back to the car.
Yeah, I had something. I got something.
You love that.
I'm highly impressed.
Thank you. Oh, and there's something else that might impress you. I found some information you might be interested in, some weird ghost shit I found.
Weird ghost shit.
Where did you find this?
I'm
assuming I know where you found this because I got the message from Sarah.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, I was there. I just want you to be honest and share with everyone else.
Yeah, it's from some kind of Ventru holding or something. They had a bunch of recordings of like ghosts and shit on a flash drive, and I thought you guys might be interested in that, and I thought it might be nice to do y'all a turn. I have the flash drive if you want it.
Who doesn't appreciate self-interest?
I think it's time to get into the car.
Are you asking what I want in return?
I'm asking you to get into the car.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't
We can
talk
go.
out here. Sorry. Sorry about that. He'll get in the car and close the door, and then wait in anticipation.
He pulls out.
Let's do it.
So,
what were you hoping to get?
In return?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate being in y'all's good graces. And additionally, I would appreciate some access to the blood center you guys said you were making up at Last Elysium. Nothing excessive, just for me.
Just for you. Not generous.
I think, depending on the information that is discerned off of a flash drive, and before you jump the gate and think that you're in our good graces, that's not entirely true. Even though I'm definitely impressed that you know how to slink through somebody's window and change your wardrobe, which we are en route, so I suggest you get changed.
Yeah.
You, as far as I'm concerned, I can't speak for these other two gentlemen, but are definitely still questionable in my mind. So I think after the family goes over said info, we can definitely return to that. I don't want to dislike you, Luke, but from the moment I first saw you and the moment that I addressed you personally before we stepped into Elysium, I told you my expectations. And I prefer upfront, I prefer honesty. And I'll be completely honest with you, I don't get that vibe off of you, so it's definitely going to take a little bit more to get in my personal good graces. In turn, you know that I represent my cousin here. So any dishonesty, distrust, or traitorous action, you won't have to worry about him. You'll be coming to me first.
Oh, well, you know what they say. You're always serving a life sentence, even this afterlife. But we'll see what's on it.
Did Sarah relay my message, though?
Sarah relay your message?
Yeah. Like, in order for me showing up with Mel and causing diversion and all that, you would owe us one.
Oh, no, she didn't mention that.
You owe us one.
Oh, well, maybe instead of the blood, if it's good, we can just be even. How about that?
Oh, no. The situation is much darker than that. You see, all I have to do is just call a certain Ventru and just tell them that I have the information that was stolen. A boon from them or a boon from you, which do you think is worth more?
Okay, let's say I owe you that. Right?
Unless I'm Mr. Milliner, unless I'm misspeaking or I'm seeing things unclear.
Oh no, I think that's definitely up to par and standards. And of course, it always comes back to currency, doesn't it, Javier?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So,
I think, no,
excuse me.
please.
Oh, is this good? Am I gonna get killed or?
I think you won't get shot or eaten
Not
automatically.
immediately.
Let's just say the establishment that we're going to be stepping into, it's not exactly Ruby Tuesdays. It's definitely more higher end.
I feel like I keep witnessing mistakes that I don't feel like I have to say anything, like give any warnings, because I think they're common sense, but don't take anything that's not yours from there.
Steal one thing and Well, I know what you mean.
He means you'll be dead.
Yeah.
No, that would honestly be the kindest thing that they would do to you.
Gotcha. So these are... Who are we meeting again?
You'll find out when we get over there. The other thing is, unless addressed personally, please don't speak. Because they don't know you from Adam. And we're going to have to properly introduce you, and hopefully they're going to allow you in. Especially with that type of shirt. We'll see.
Okay.
So the drive takes about 35 minutes to get out off Route 15, heading out towards Leesburg. The GPS coordinates that you have stop on a particular point on the road. It takes you a minute to look around to actually recognize the tree-hidden entry driveway. It's cleverly grown over in the right places to mask it. Even the folded over grass from other tire marks are at least cleverly disguised in the dark of night. The first thing you notice once you pass the tree line is a pair of rather large brick and stone pedestals holding up a pair of rather gothic looking gargoyles statues. And as you look past those, the next thing that gets your attention is an actual castle. It's kind of surprising that this thing is tucked away in the backwoods of Northern Virginia. It doesn't look old. It looks like it's, probably construction methods within the last 30 to 50 years. It's got modern materials. There's like concrete and brick and, modern glass. But it definitely screams castle. There's even a small moat around it with a small drawbridge that butts up to a set of stairs coming from a circular driveway. There is someone in a black suit standing at the bottom of the stairs. You could assume that it's probably a valet, since you can see cars parked a ways away from the castle in one of the near fields. Yeah, it's wits and awareness for everyone. Difficulty's 4.
Would this be based on hearing or seeing?
Sight.
Or okay, I got 3.
Oh, you can't see. Critical 7.
Okay. So while everybody's kind of looking around and taking in the landscaping and the architecture or whatever the hell they're looking at, Javier, there's a couple of things that definitely get your attention. Up at the crenellations on the 2 towers on either side is, for lack of a better term, a guardian shadow atop each of those crenellated turrets. They are definitely exuding some darkness. They have the look and the feel of the abyss. They do not seem to have solid form. They kind of flow in between the dark spaces and are a little darker than the rest of it. And that's what caught your eye, is that, well, there's darkness and there's night, but then there's darkness. And there are at least 2 of those entities here. Whatever or whoever they are, they definitely got your attention. And for everybody who had 2 or more successes, the place definitely has a feel. It's not unlike the feel in Jude's basement, in the morgue, in his operatory. There's a darkness that just kind of hangs over the general region. As soon as you pass the tree lines, there's that little quickly feel at the back of your neck that this is not a cool place for you, Luke.
Oh, my hair's on end. I don't like it here.
The scent in the air is definitely that of decay and death and rotting, vegetation. It just smells bad to you.
Yeah, I'm definitely on my cackles here. I can feel my beast kind of like
Who's sitting in the back
as
with
where
Luke?
it usually is, but
Jude,
more
you're
so.
sitting in the back, right? Yeah, you would probably notice Luke tense a little bit, and you'd probably notice Javier's head swivel, like, quickly as he noticed something. CJ, you pull around the little entry circle, and sure enough, the suited gentleman quickly runs over to the two doors that are on the passenger side, opens them, runs over to the driver's side, opens the rear door, and then finally your door, holding it and offering a hand to help you out of your vehicle.
When they came around to my door, I would pull out my snub nose and I would tuck it into the side compartment that I normally hide it at.
All right.
Oh, I would when we're exiting, I would try to slide my gun to just a hidden part of the car so nobody sees it.
So, you pull out a handgun. What kind?
It's a let me get it out. It's a it's on my
What would
character.
What would prompt you to hide your weapon? I mean, like, it's not like CJ's being inconspicuous. He's just reaching over to his glove box.
I guess that I feel so ill at ease that I want to try to reduce the danger for myself as much as possible. And I get the feeling that having a gun here wouldn't help me against whatever's here, but just make it worse if they found that I had it.
Fair enough. So,
Yeah.
Jude, being in the back seat, it's not hard to see Luke fiddle with something in his waistline and starts to like push it down into the crack of the seat between the seat and the back upright.
You could just put whatever it is directly. You don't have to hide it.
Oh,
What's he
okay.
trying to hide?
It's just a handgun.
And he turns around and he looks, what the fuck you doing with a handgun here?
But you have one?
I always have one on me.
So do I.
What the fuck are you doing with one?
But what do you mean what am I doing with one?
Yeah.
But what do you think this means on my hand?
You can turn your hand into fucking claws. What the fuck you need a gun for?
It's don't worry
Just
about
tuck
it.
it in.
Okay,
to the seat.
okay, whatever, okay.
Just tuck it in the seat.
The gentleman that was holding the door for Carlisle and offering him a hand gives a good chuckle. He's in a perfectly tailored suit. It fits him to a T. He's a slender guy. Doesn't offer a name, but he addresses Jude St. Germain by name. You're expected, Mr. Germain. Nice of you to show up.
I'd make it a habit of remembering people's names. Do I know this person's name, or maybe give them a name?
Let's give him a name.
Bob
Sims.
Thompson.
No, his name's Anthony.
Anthony the valet, or maybe valet. So yeah, you recall the name Anthony.
It's always good to see you.
It's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Germain. Who are your associates?
This is Mr. Milliner. This is Mr. Grillo. This is Mr. Lennox.
We were expecting you +2. Who's the +3? I'm assuming it's you. And he kind of pokes at your tie with his clipboard.
That's when someone's speaking
+3?
to you, do you speak back?
Yes, I'm the extra one.
And what's your name, sir?
Mr. Lennox, Luke Lennox.
Luke Lennox. He makes a quick note on the clipboard.
Make a note that works for the sheriff of the Camarillo.
Raises a single eyebrow, kind of gives a quizzical look from you to Luke and back.
It's one of their bullshit titles.
I would say work is a very loose definition of it, but it's about accurate.
Okay. He definitely writes a few more words on his little notepad. Gentlemen, please, right this way. May I have your key, sir?
Absolutely. Hands it over.
He motions to the stairs that lead up to a small drawbridge that is down. There is a very, very heavy double door that is solid wood, ironclad with studs and small spikes on it. It looks like a very defensible door. It's got large iron knocker rings on it. You do not get a chance to actually knock as the door opens when you approach crossing the drawbridge. As you come inside, there is a large entry area. From floor to ceiling, it's about 14 to 15 feet high, probably about 20 to 30 feet wide, and about 6 to 10 feet deep. It's a proper foyer. You can see just past it a large grand staircase that goes up to the second level of the castle and splits off in two directions quite near the top. You can see wood railing around the top walkway. It seems to be centrally open. You can see hallways to your right and left just past the foyer. You can see a large sitting room with several chairs and couches, small coffee tables. There's some teacups that have gathered. There's a couple of drink glasses, what have you. There's several people milling about. You notice that there are some servants who are clearly servants. They are dressed well, but they are not wearing ties. They have collarless shirts on, and they're wearing pristine white aprons. In that little half apron that you see in nice fancy restaurants. They have the towel draped over their arms. They are greeting everyone that comes in. You can see they're offering to take coats or canes or hats. They quickly hand them off to someone that then disappears into what you can assume is like a coat check or a coat closet. You can smell burning flesh in the air. You're pretty sure that's what you're smelling. There's definitely the hint of coppery blood hanging everywhere. I will need a Rorschach test from everybody because of the intensity of the smell of blood in this building.
So what is that?
That is
resolve and will?
That is your willpower, just straight willpower, sir. This is the overwhelming smell of blood.
One success.
Okay. Well, you also recently fed, so.
Oh.
4 successes.
Yeah, I also got 4.
Excellent. So, CJ, Jude, and Javier, while the smell is absolutely intoxicating, you withhold that sudden urge that accompanies that every time you smell it. Every time you feed, you hunt, you do combat. Jude, every time you conduct an autopsy, you have to push that thirst and that hunger and the crackling voice of the beast creeping up your spine because it smells like a fucking buffet. Javier, you're a little more hesitant to hold that control, but you do. Luke, you can see the three of them like nose lift a little bit as Javier's taking an inhuman breath that he doesn't need. Seems to enjoy the scent. It's an odd mix. There's some sulfurous smell in the air. There's like some weird frankincense and myrrh, maybe some kind of weird incense is mixed in. The talks that you can see, the small groups of 2 here or 3 there, are whispered. And as the 3 of you push past the foyer, conversations kind of die away, and heads turn to look to see who's just entered the building. A gentleman, all well-built, probably 5'11", not overly muscular, but fit, turns immediately, striding towards CJ with a slight smile on his face. CJ, you immediately recognize Russell.
How are you, Russ?
He strikes a hand out, and if you do the same, he takes a hold of your wrist and forearm, gives it a good shake, pats your shoulder. CJ, how are you?
It's been a long time, my friend.
I got your message.
I appreciate that. I apologize for having to go to such measures, but at that moment, we were going through quite a bit of turmoil that I will definitely go into detail about this evening.
I look forward to hearing it. Why don't you introduce me to your gentleman?
Of course. My 2 cousins. This is Dr. Jude Germain.
And again, he reaches his hand out.
Javier.
I'll take it.
Grillo.
Grips your forearm and shakes it. And in turn, as you introduce Javier, he does the same.
Mucho gusto. And I shake his hand.
Shaking his hand is good, but if he's gonna like go for the embrace, you just stand there very rigid, and it's gonna be okay.
He grasps your forearm. He grasps your forearm and gives it a good firm grip and a shake. He will take his second hand and pat the backside of your hand. Same thing for Javier. He will grasp forearms with you, and he will again pat the back of your hand. It's almost as if he's checking your pulse. It's very slick, it's very practiced, and it is smooth as silk. You don't even notice that he pauses for that brief second with his 2 fingers reaching towards your radial artery.
And he turns and he looks at Luke like, you better not fuck this up. And he says, and this is our associate, Mr. Lennox.
An associate, not friend or cousin.
He is not part of the family. However, he is in our dealings as of late. And he does bring certain things to the table this evening.
Interesting. Unexpected, but interesting. He releases Javier's arm and extends a hand to you, but does not take hold of your forearm like he did the other. He gives you a proper gentleman's handshake, although he does have 2 fingers that extend past your wrist and touch on your radial artery. Are you blessed of life?
No.
Okay.
I am
Excellent.
not.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'll take his hand. I won't try to copy his gesture. I'll just give him a normal handshake.
He looks, while he's shaking your hand, he doesn't really let go because he puts his other hand again and clasps your hand in both of his as he shakes your hand. And he looks over at CJ, Jude, and Javier, gives them a once over, and looks at you and says, that won't do. Come, CJ, please make yourselves comfortable and at home. Doors that are shut should be knocked. Otherwise, please feel free to wander about the castle. Come with me, Mr. Lennox. I'm going to get you a dinner jacket.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And he releases your hand and leads off to where the coat check room was.
Okay.
I turn to the other 2 and I say, I didn't really get a chance to finish introductions. That is Russell Bevilacqua. He is a very close personal friend of mine that I met down in New Orleans several years ago. We had negotiations with the Camarilla, myself and my sire, and he was on the other contingent, hoping to get a seat at their table. Things did not go according to plan. He ended up relocating over here several years ago.
Interesting.
Aware of the goings on of New Orleans.
Down by the French Quarter, of course. This had entailings to do with the recent Camarilla recruitment. I'm sure that you possibly heard about in the Chicago area.
I'm from New Orleans.
Yes, it seems domain by domain are treating the La Sombra differently.
Well, they've always had La Sombra heavily in New Orleans because of the church.
Absolutely. But of course, when times are changing, people are jumping ship, sinking ships as of late. They are looking for salvation in other ports. And especially down over there, things did not go according to plan, unfortunately. However, he did happen to take a proper seat here. He is a former Chief Justice in the state of Virginia.
Anybody could do a quick intelligence and politics roll. Luke, you're not doesn't apply to you because you're not part of that conversation.
Okay.
As you are in the coat room. Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm gonna go and grab an actual dinner jacket I have.
Oh.
2.
I got 4 successes.
So, Jude, the name Balaclava, how we say this?
Bevilacqua.
One more time.
Bevilacqua.
Bevilacqua. Okay, I got it. Bevilacqua. It's a mouthful. I like Russell.
From the guy with the speech impediment.
So while Jude is away with your Malwa, who finds him a perfectly tailored jacket that fits him like a glove and actually looks half decent, also offers Luke a set of trousers that would match the suit and would escort Luke to an adjoining dressing room, to the coat room, giving him the coat and pants so that at least he's not completely out of place. Although what you'll notice, Luke, is that this house and the people who are in it, there's a lot of black. There's a lot of black suits. There's a lot of black pinstripe suits with shiny black pinstripes and muted pinstripes or matte pin. There's a lot of black suits in here, and none of them look like they're off the shelf at Sears.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is probably, these clothes are worth more than everything Luke owns. Maybe.
Probably. He quickly, as soon as you come out, quickly ushers you back to your compatriots. CJ, maybe later when we have an opportunity to speak privately.
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. And I assume you all are here for dinner?
Yes.
Excellent. I believe there's someone that would like to say hello to at least you, CJ, and you, Mr. St. Germain. Do you prefer Dr. Germain, or what do you prefer, sir?
Hey, Jude, you call me Doctor, Doc. It doesn't matter.
Around here, I think I will refer to you as Dr. Germain for the time being. Protocols, niceties, politenesses. And you, Mr. Grillo?
Javier is fine.
As you wish, sir. Let's adjourn to the smoking room. Right this way. And he leads you past the staircase, down a hall and to the left into a parlor-like room that has plush seating. There's a small library, some built-in shelving, a magnificent woodwork everywhere you look. Everything in this place that you've seen screams hand craftsmanship from artisans. While the outside may look a little modern and kind of out of place for a castle, the inside looks exactly like it should in a proper castle, and one probably owned by someone of note. There are at least two other persons in the room. They both are speaking with their backs to you, kind of looking out of a window. Russell clears his throat a moment. The other two straighten, stop talking, and turn around. One you recognize immediately. It's Gerard. And he looks a little surprised to see the three of you, although not entirely. There's like a moment of, oh. And Russell walks over, shakes hands or clasps wrists with both of the gentlemen and says, may I introduce to you, gentlemen, I believe you know Gerard. This is Mr. Gerard Ballantyne.
Sure. First meeting wasn't formal or pleasant, so let me introduce myself, and I'll actually go to shake his hand.
Gerard is just a hair's breadth hesitant, but takes your hand.
Yeah, Dr. Jude, St. Germain.
We've met briefly under less austere circumstances. Mr. Milliner, likewise.
Absolutely. How are you, Gerard?
The night finds me well. Thank you for asking.
That is always good to hear.
And you, sir, are?
Javier Grillo.
Javier, pleasure to meet you, sir. And he again locks wrists with you, shakes. And you, sir? Russell, this is Mr. Luke Lennox. He's an associate of Mr. Milliner's, Dr. Germain's, and Mr. Grillo. And he offers a hand, does not take your wrist.
He'll return the shake in the standard manner.
Gerard Ballantyne. Well met.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, Luke Lennox.
This is our esteemed host. This is Mr. Armand Giovanni. Armand stands there for a minute, and you don't have to be a scientist or a heightened senses. It clearly, as he straightens up, as he's introduced, the shadows in the room coalesce around him quite fluidly and visibly into some form of cloak or garment. It definitely accentuates every intimidating feature on his face. He is clearly of Italian descent in features, is a good 3 inches shorter than Russell. He's not a very tall person, but he's definitely commands respect in presence, as the sensation of awe also fills the room at the same time as the shadows coalesce about him. He is instantly magnetic and frightening at the same time. Gentlemen, welcome to my home. I trust you found it well enough?
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for the invitation.
He takes the couple of steps forward to the group of you, and one at a time, in order of St. Germain, Mr. Milliner, and then Javier, locks wrists with the three of you if you do so, and gives you that welcome. Luke, he doesn't strike a hand out to you at all. He gives you a nod.
Luke will struggle to give a nod back. He's intimidated.
Yeah. He's an intimidating individual. Have you ever met a Giovanni?
Never, but I recognize this from meetings with other individuals, other kindred.
Sure. So he looks to be carrying in his left hand something akin to an oversized brandy snifter that definitely is filled with now slightly coagulating blood. He doesn't make two bones about lifting that thing to his face and taking large gulps. It looks like it could probably contain half the blood of a human. And probably does at this point. It looks about half full. How are things at the hospital?
Things are well enough, but could be better. That's part of our reason for being here this evening, I guess.
On paper, it is doing extremely well.
Absolutely.
The personal, the chaos of the domain as large, and Prince William has unfortunately has had an impact on business day to day and at large.
I trust you have the corrections of that well started.
That is correct.
Excellent.
However, there are certain things we would like to discuss, like the Elysium that we were forced to go to.
I heard of the occurrence. I can't say that I'm pleased with what I've heard. Let's talk about it over dinner. Shall we, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
He puts the oversized snifter down and leads the way with Russell and your little Sombra in close tow. Gerard seems to be taking... anybody here have any kind of security skill? Martial arts?
Sorry?
Even brawl. You may get more than 2 pips in brawl.
Nope.
I have 2 in brawl, and I have 3 in larceny, which can be considered security.
Sure, I'll give you a intelligence, and I'll let you roll your larceny for it. Sure.
Yeah, it's just in the book. It says that larceny covers security systems. If that's not what this entails to, then never mind.
No, it's all right.
2 successes.
There's certain behaviors with Gerard that kind of stick out for you. Maybe not so much the others, but he seems to be taking quite the interest in keeping Armand at a pace from anyone else. Like, he intercedes, he will push through doors first and clear people out in front of him. And it seems practiced. It's smooth.
Yeah, it reminds Luke of like a lot of the prison gangs. There'd be like a guy guarding the head of the gang, and he'd move around like this, and so kind of find it similar to that in the moment.
You could certainly make that analogy.
Yeah.
He walks in. You notice that other people stop again. They stop their small conversations. They all offer a nod as Armand cocks his head up a little bit. He says, I believe it's time for a sit down. I will join you all in the dining room shortly. Please, if you don't mind. And there's no hesitation from anybody except maybe Luke, Javier. I don't know if Javier's been to a table sit yet in his travels. I would guess that Jude and CJ have at least once or twice. Luke, to you, it looks very officious, ceremonial even. Now that you have a moment as people are walking by and you get to look at them, it's clear that even the servers are dressed very specifically. There's little variances in difference as you notice, like if someone's acting more as a butler than they are a server or an attendant or a footman. You notice that like they have a little very subtle collar device of either shape or color that you can associate with their behaviors. You don't know what they mean, but they're definitely, everybody has their place.
There's an order here, yeah.
So the crowd shuffles in down the opposite hallway towards a grand dining hall. There's a large table that is at least enough to accommodate 30 people sitting at it. It looks like a grand medieval dining table. It's huge. It's oak. It's solid. It would take a team of people to even lift a corner of it. It looks like it was probably built out of timbers carved right here in the dining room. Likewise, the chairs are ornate. They seem to have some regal nature to them, and the ones at either end of the table are definitely more throne-like. They're not, oversized, but they have the large pieces coming off the back. There's much more ornate carving on those chairs than the others. They clearly hold a significance. And you see people taking places. There are actual place mats or there are name places. You'll see even Milliner, Jude, and Javier as you guys get into the dining room. You look around, there's, medieval weapons all over the walls. There's even some occultic stuff tucked in the corners. There's candles everywhere. It's well lit, but only by candlelight. Like there is not an actual electric light bulb in this dining room. There's a large fireplace at the far end of the head of the table that is completely roaring, even though it's the middle of July. It looks very formal. The place settings, there's charging plates, salad plates, dessert plates. There's, wine glasses, water glasses. There's aperitif glasses. There's several pieces of silverware on either sides of the table of place settings. Ornately embroidered napkins. It's probably one of the fanciest get-ups you've seen.
I'm gonna go directly to my. I'm gonna look around for plates that maybe say like guests. And
as you're perusing, there's actually a place that has Dr. Jude St. Germain.
I'm more so looking for Luke, so I can sit Luke down in front of it and then go to my place.
You do not find a guest seat at the table, but when the three of you take your seats, and they're right next to each other in order of Jude, CJ, and Javier, from right to left towards the foot of the table, 2 seats away from the big chair. So you're not in like the middle of the table where they kind of put people they don't want to talk to. You're a little closer to someone important.
So I'm guessing I'm at the foot of this thing, probably.
You maybe have circled the table and you see nameplates. Yours is not on any of the seats at the table. A pair of butler-like gentlemen quickly come over and they motion you to them. And
I'll look to Jude like is this it, or okay, I'll go over to them.
He quickly puts a hand on your left shoulder and pushes you in a direction to one of the corners of the room. He snaps a finger over his head, and almost near deathly silent, a trio of servers come through the kitchen holding a small table, a chair that is like the others at the table. They quickly set up the table in one of the corners. They put out the entire spread of flatware and dinnerware and glasses and all of that. And they even have at this point created a nameplate for you and have placed it on the top plate so that you know where you're supposed to sit.
He'll sit down. He'll think about saying something and he'll just sit down.
One of the gentlemen pulls the chair out for you and waits for you to seat, and also will scoot you forward as you see fit. It is like being treated like a king almost. Although your position is furthest from the fireplace and the head of the table, while not having access to an immediate exit.
Can I get a sense of the... You said there were like servants in this corner of the room, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're
the only one at a table in the corner.
So are there servants around me still or no?
There is one server who is behind you and to your left. And you'll notice that as people take their seats, servers also show up behind each person at the table to their left. Like everybody has their own server.
Okay, he looks like he's gonna say something, but then he realizes that everyone else is getting one, so he's like, I guess this is just how it is.
As you settle in, he comes over, he takes your nameplate and sets it at the opposite end of the table, pulls the napkin from the ring, flaps it open for you, and offers to place it into your lap for you. Like he motions to put this napkin down for you.
Luke looks like legitimately confused at what this is supposed to even be. I guess he'll kind of like move back a little bit, like I don't know, and then he'll put the napkin in there or something, I guess.
He places the napkin down and looks to be fussy over it to make sure that it's triangular on your lap, that the point of the triangle is almost perfectly between your knees. The napkin is folded in such a way that it covers any chance of anything spilling into your lap, soiling your clothes. Likewise, you see this occurring as people get seated. The servers are busy placing napkins. It's a real show. I mean, it's a thing.
What is this?
They go around and start pouring before dinner drinks. They're not really offering anybody water. It looks like half of the glasses are probably there as just part of the decoration. But they are going around filling glasses after having people sniff, several samples on a tray. They would pick what they want and they would open a bottle, fill their glass, and set the bottle in front of them. And this happens for everyone, including you.
This is all for me? He asked the waiter.
The waiter gives you a polite smile. He leans down very close to you. If I may make some advice, sir.
Yes.
Act like you're supposed to be here.
I was trying my best, but I'll do better.
You should stop whispering to me. It's not proper. You should be giving me commands and orders, sir. They will think you're weak. So when you wave him off, he straightens up very rapidly, rights his coat, makes sure that his tie is in place and his apron is perfect, and stands there almost at a military attention behind you and to your left and waits. Jude, Javier, CJ, same thing. As you guys get settled in your seats, you get the full treatment. They bring a round of drinks. Nobody's drinking yet, Luke. You notice that nobody's touched a glass. Everybody's been poured, bottles have been placed.
Luke's not moving until anybody else moves. He's playing Simon Says here.
You notice that one of the gentlemen seated across from CJ suddenly erupts out of his chair, grabs the server by the throat, and yanks his trachea out. Throws it on top of his now gurgling body excuses himself and walks away from the table and out the entry of the dining room. There's a couple of turned heads, but you notice that people really aren't paying attention to that. Like, it's like, wow, that just happened. A moment later, there's a team of 3 guys that come in. They take the body, even as it's still gurgling blood out of its missing trachea. They clean up as if it had never happened and disappear out of the room just as quickly. Dude, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Peter.
A couple of minutes goes by before that gentleman returns. He seems to be in a new suit of slightly different style and retakes his seat as another server runs to take care of him, and does so with a bit of trembling hand and trepidation. Gerard takes a seat left of the head of the table. Russell takes a seat next to Milliner, 1 seat away from the foot of the table. CJ, I hope you brought your appetite, sir.
I always do.
And as he begins to talk with CJ, murmurs and small talks start to fill the air of the dining room as people begin to converse, getting comfortable and starting to relax into the moment. So, what's the story with this Mr. Lennox?
Mr. Lennox was decreed to us by the local sheriff as help.
Benny.
Currently, yes. Currently, he's been serving in menial tasks. However, he does bring something to the table this evening. I think Armand would definitely appreciate.
I would be careful in how you present it, is all I can say.
Well, worst comes to worst, he can always become part of the feast.
He looks over towards where Luke is sitting in a corner. Stranger things have happened at these dinners.
You are absolutely right.
Jude, are you lacking anything there at your hospital? Is there anything that we can do to help you?
In what matter?
I don't know the goings-ons of your business there.
What can you bring to the table?
Resources for one, connections for another.
Someone can be in touch.
We'll make that happen.
I will get Peter's attention, the person that ripped apart that server's throat.
He looks up from his bullshit conversation.
You should probably start working on fixing the body that you just created. And if you want to send it to the hospital, I don't mind doing this kindness for you.
Do you? Germain, right? Saint Germain, Jude, Jude, right?
Doctor, but yeah.
You don't think that's going to go to waste, do you?
Oh, no, but it's like when you make a faux pas, you would at least attempt to fix it.
Oh, did I make a faux pas?
Never mind.
Oh
Continue.
no! Now you have my curiosity. What in your eyes did I do wrong, sir?
You were the first to drink.
I've not drank a thing. I've spilled, and that was readily cleaned up. But I have not partaken, nor would I. That would be rude.
Anyways, I'll turn.
If you turn as he's still trying to talk,
Yeah, immediately turn.
he looks a little stymied at Jude's abruptness, but kind of shrugs it off and goes back to his bullshit conversation. If you listen to any of it, it is literally a bullshit conversation that is just filling the air with noise. Some of the other conversations and Luke, you can hear these things. It's not like this room is gargantuan. It is voluminous, but it's enclosed enough that there's enough echo in the room that even slight whispers can be heard across the room. It seems acoustically proper.
Could I make any attempt to just hear anything interesting? Would that be too much to ask?
So it depends on what you consider interesting and what you can perceive from the conversations that are going on. Because not all of them are like English. There's some weird code speak that you, at least that's what you think it is, because you hear like a Spanish word, you hear an English word, or even a phrase, and then you'll see somebody tilt a head a certain way, or you'll see an eyebrow raise, or certain wrinkles, or certain facial movements are accompanied with hand gestures, and it's very showy, but it doesn't read so well audibly. Javier, CJ, and Jude, are you familiar with the pigeon? Jude's not?
Yes.
Yeah, it's part of the.
Oh, that's Rico's thing. That's
all three of us.
okay.
Yeah, you guys talk in Pigeon at Elysium, so Luke can hear you before.
So yeah, you're hearing some of that, and so you can equate it to they're talking their own language. You will notice that none of the serving staff utters a word using that kind of language. They speak absolute perfect English. In fact, all of their accents are perfectly American educated college level English, using good grammar. They speak with good posture. They look like it is absolutely purposeful. Everything in this room is purposeful. That is not hard to pick up on. Even the decorations, the choice of types of weapons speak to a specific era in time. They're not necessarily medieval as much as they are 1500s, guys? That sound about right?
Could I attempt to just notice if the people at the head of the tables are talking at all or doing anything like that?
No one has sat down at the head or the foot of the table yet.
Okay, Okay, that's enough.
Now, being that you're taking a look around, you do notice that there's a guy standing at the door. He looks a little more formal, is dressed a little more decorated, has like a nice gold like 30-point star on his chest, and it has little ribbons coming off of it like he was almost like some kind of military person. And he has a almost 5.5-foot staff made of gold and onyx. And a few moments as you're looking at him, he taps it twice on the ground. And pretty much everyone at the table stands up damn near in unison.
Luke will attempt to stand up as soon as he knows anyone else standing up.
Yeah, it's like it's like a wave at a stadium, like everybody does it at the same time. There's 2 taps and boom, you hear chairs move, people stand up, and they all turn towards the door. The serving staff all turn their attention to the door. And the gentleman that you had met just only moments before, Mr. Armand Giovanni, walks in, looks about the room, strides, picks a couple of cherry-picked people to pat on the shoulder or actually even grasp arms with and shake as he makes his way to the head of the table. He takes a seat, tings his glass with his signet ring, and everybody again takes a seat. It's almost like a ballet. Next, a couple moments later, the guy at the door again pounds twice, and including Armand, everyone stands. Do you follow suit?
Yeah, Luke is watching everyone as close as he can to figure out what even minute formality people are making, trying to follow it as quickly as he can. His heightened senses are on his vision right now, just trying to pick up anybody's like formality movement, if that makes sense.
Sure. But yeah, this looks very practiced. Like this is not the first time they've had this type of formal dinner and sit down like this. There's procedure here. Everything happens at a certain moment. Like you can see occasionally you'll see servers glance at a giant clock that's over the fireplace just to make sure that they're not missing their beats. The doors open again. The guy at the door hands his staff to someone else, walks out of the room. You can hear maybe a pair of footsteps, and he turns coming back in, and you hear the unmistakable clack of high heels on a wood floor as he escorts someone in a amazing, I mean, like Hollywood ball kind of stars red gown. It is deeply cut in the front, has a deep V, is very light on her. It looks like it's floating on her. It's incredibly elegant, shows off every one of her perfect assets extremely well, and commands the attention of the room as again that sensation of awe kind of leaks in from the door as he escorts this lady to her seat. He pulls out her chair, gets her seated. Again, everybody's heads follow her as she is brought to the table. He gets her seated, gets her napkin, and then that gentleman with all the decorations takes a place behind her and to the left. At which point, Armand raises a glass to everyone here. Good evening, family. And he takes a drink. Everybody takes a drink. And he takes a seat. And everybody follows suit. At which point, there's a flurry of activity from servers. They begin moving in rapid fashion. They are bringing out small plates of this or that. Looks like might be bits of flesh, might be gelatinous cubes that are perfectly cut in the shape of a diamond. All of it smells of flesh and blood. The overwhelming scent in the room wakes everybody's beasts up. There is no way to get away from this scent. Not in here. I need everybody to make a willpower check, please. You guys have experienced this before. It still doesn't change how it affects you. Randy, your difficulty is 3. 2 will do. Again, that hunger, that life desire to gorge is very real and tangible for everyone. The servers finish plating everyone. And again, everyone turns to look towards Armand, who takes up a fork, grabs a bite of something, and puts it in his mouth. He nods to those gathered and to the woman at the far end of the table. This is, please enjoy your dinner. And he kind of sits back as he watches people start to eat and drink and return to conversations. Likewise, Luke, your table is now covered in small dishes. They have silver lids that are being removed by your server. And yeah, and it's prepared, as far as you can tell, bits of flesh, gelatinous this, blood sausage that. Most things are dripping in some kind of blood gravy. It looks fucking phenomenal.
He'll wait till he sees somebody else eating near him, and it'll take a bite.
Most people at the table are busily eating and talking and drinking.
Let's go for the blood sausage first.
Yeah, you have the iron gullet, man. You have the ability to eat food, and this stuff tastes amazing.
I don't have iron gullet. I have eating
food.
Yes.
But strangely, it doesn't taste like dead flesh. It tastes amazing. I mean, it's still dead flesh or dead blood. It's coagulating or gelatinous, but it doesn't taste decaying. It doesn't taste like everything else you've ever put in your mouth from the time you were embraced was ash and sulfur and lava. It was awful. Even though you can eat, it still tastes awful. It's not blood. This is absolutely blood everything.
Yeah, damn. I look shocked. Say just into the open air, my compliments to the chef, and then I just start eating.
CJ, Jude, Javier, the woman at the near end of the table where you guys are, is striking. She is fantastically beautiful, alluring. Maybe not as much to Jude, but the effect is still the same. It is a natural beauty. Russell engages CJ in some banter, light talk, as it were. How you doing? How are things going? What have you been up to? Just how are you finding the area? What do you think about the domain? And same, he engages with Javier and Jude if Jude engages in the conversation.
It seems like the Camarilla likes to put its nose in everything.
How do you mean?
Like you didn't hear, we were supposedly made a spectacle of.
Yes, that's been recently under discussion. What happened? Tell me from your own perspective. I'd like to hear it from each of you.
We were required to show up to Elysium to a Camarilla event via the sheriff. We got there. I brought a token of good faith in the form of a blood bag from the hospital. We were paraded around. We turned away to see the prince until the appropriate time, which we weren't really given any information. We were shook down for information, and we acquired a property of the Marrakesh farm, and we met the prince, which you know how that went.
I've heard. CJ, about the same for you? Is that what you experienced?
Yeah, we attempted to, how can I say, have open arms and clear vision going into it. And like Jude stated, we were publicly paraded around and embarrassed. Anything that was brought up specifically that would have been considered business was completely disregarded. The conversation I had with the sheriff prior to this, I instilled that the only point that we would be making, even though it was open-ended, was just discerning that our domain, as per the agreement between our two sects, would remain ours. And we understood to a certain extent that certain things that happened recently in the public eye were going to be brought up, which we have handled accordingly. However, we were still basically made a spectacle of, and any attempt to engage the prince about such matters pertaining to domain or anything pertaining to the property that was handed over to us was met as a joke. And on top of that, we were imposed a supposed blood tax that apparently is going to, yes, the details were pushed off as per Her Highness until a later date. However, every time I tried to bring it up and assure her that we don't fall under that jurisdiction, she proclaimed, trying to quote her, that her people would go over the terms of the agreement.
That's ballsy. So Russell turns then to Javier, expectantly waiting for his perspective of the event, as if he knew you were there.
The good doctor and his attorney have covered most of the details. Our presence was requested. We attended in good faith, and we were blatantly disrespected in front of all present.
That's on par with some of the things I've heard. You had some others with you at Elysium?
We did. We had this fine gentleman, as he motions to Luke. We also had...
He turns, looks to Luke, and he doesn't speak in any pidgin after you point out Luke was at Elysium. He speaks in English, whether you guys do or not. He talks so that he can be heard. But go ahead.
We also had, apparently, Gerard's grandchild with us. We had
grandchild?
Good. Yes.
He sired another? Or his child or someone?
Yes.
Yes.
That's very curious.
Yes.
And he turns and
we
looks
only found out
to
recently.
Gerard. That Gerard. The Losamba.
Yes. Yes.
Have you all met him before?
We have.
At Elysium.
At Elysium.
That's when you met him for the first time. So this Miss Dearie, I think, is his childer's name. Is that correct? And she's in your company?
Yes.
But,
If I recall your call, CJ, you had shared some of this with me.
Yes, I did.
I, in turn, shared with you, if you recall. I was there.
You were
I had
there
my
at
own-
the time of her siren?
I was there at Elysium. Not
Oh.
physically, mind you, but I was sort of present through various means. And he just gives a knowing nod to CJ. He doesn't know Jude or Javier, so he doesn't know your skills or abilities, but he definitely gives an exchanged look with CJ of knowing that he's talking about traveling within the abyss or being able to reach out in shadows and hear and see or such. He says enough that if you're familiar with those skills, that you can probably identify that ability. But he doesn't ever say it outright. He's very circumvent in his speech about such things. He keeps it quiet. And much like he has taught CJ that our secrets are our secrets. But he still continues to speak in English, kind of projecting his voice in Luke's direction. So you had that Los Sombra's child at Elysium.
Yes.
That sounds dangerous at best. What prompted you to take her with you?
We didn't really have a choice. It's either she was going to make a spectacle of herself eventually out in public, or we attempt to corral her, which was going to draw poor attention either on the Camarilla, which in turn would be pitched back at us, or draw attention to our endeavors.
Javier, is she a danger to us, the family?
It is too soon to say.
Was
She is willful.
Willful's not entirely a bad thing. Was she introduced to the Rose? Was she
Yes.
presented?
Yes,
Yes.
that's how we figured
Met
out
Gerard.
that.
Which of you presented her?
I did.
You did. Do you understand what that means in their little ivory tower politics?
That I'm probably accountable.
There is a measure of their tradition of accountability that has already been placed on you. You need to be very, very aware of that, Jude. These Camarilla types in this domain came with heavy hands,
But
short tempers.
they acknowledged Gerard actually was found out to be the sire right then and there.
Really?
Yeah, so
You see several people that are seated near you now have quieted their conversations, actively turned and are now listening. This is interesting to those immediately around you, including the lady who is mildly distracting to at least Luke, CJ, and Javier. She keeps doing strange bodily motions to flash a little bit more of her breasts, or maybe pulls a leg up to adjust a stocking that's not there. She'll drape her hands along her calves seductively.
Luke, kind of guessing at what this could be, is gonna roll to resist awe, if that's being used here. Or if it's not, then he'll just try to ignore it and focus on his food.
So awe in this occasion, at least when it's coming from her, makes her much more attractive, more alluring. It's not an in-your-face thing. It's subtle. It's worms its way into your head and your thoughts. So what about Luke's character would prod him to resist the allure of probably one of the most beautiful people he's ever seen?
Luke, first of all, I guess in terms of his vampiric nature, he has
Lusts.
fortitude, and his mind is inured against these kind of attempts to influence him. And second off, he doesn't want to be looking at the head of the whole gang's girl and get his hand chopped off or something.
That's a fair assessment of your surroundings. I will allow you let's go with first wits and awareness,
Okay.
just to see if you can decipher that you're being manipulated.
Sure.
Your difficulty is 4, sir.
I got 5.
Wow. So yeah, it seems like she is on purpose sending signals your direction, like bodily motions, a slight turn here, a slight tilt of the head, a look out of the corner of her eye with a seductive wink. She might even place a finger or a hand at the top of her thigh and give you the come here motion, as if she was beckoning you over, and it is tempting. Even the beast in you is like, you should go introduce yourself. She's got to sleep sometime. And you smell that? You smell that? She's a breather. She's a breather. Go say hello.
Yeah.
What's the harm in it? It would be rude not to. Look around. Everybody's being polite. You should be polite. Luke, let's go be polite. Let's go and talk to her right now.
It's a trap.
So
Can't become
now
hunted here.
Now you get your willpower roll,
Okay.
and you're going to use.
Can I get?
So it's a specific roll for what she's doing.
Okay. Can I get a bonus from Unswayable Mind?
Oh, absolutely. Unswayable
Yeah.
mind. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A moment, sir. And if any of the three of you take a moment to even look in Luke's direction as Russell is conversing with you, you will see his attention constantly being drawn to the red-dressed lady at the head of the table. And he's probably not that slick about it, because he doesn't strike you as one of those, I'm picking chicks up at the bar slick kind of guys.
I got
Second.
3 successes.
Okay.
Can I willpower re-roll that, or is that not allowed
Just
on willpower rolls?
Give me just a moment, please.
Sorry.
Just a moment. I just need to confirm a couple of things. So that gives you extra dice equal to your fortitude in any roll to resist coercion, intimidation, seduction, or any other attempt to sway the user's mind against their will. The power works against supernatural abilities such as dominate and presence, both of which are actually in use against you. Well, on you, around you. And how many successes did you get, sir?
3.
3 successes. A moment, please. Okay, that fucking sucks. Fuck you, dice. So, and for anybody who's interested, I rolled a 1 success out of 7 dice. Now, mind you, your beast has claimed that this is a breather. You don't know that. It's just what you're being told. There is an influence inflicted upon you, both seduction and persuasion, that is extremely tugging at the core of your being, like the guttural vampire lust in you is being surfaced. You dig in your heels with the unswayable mind and realize that you are in fact being manipulated by this person. It's nobody else is paying you much attention, but she certainly is, and it's overt. It's not subtle. It's she's toying with you.
His beast seems to be into it, but then just a moment of clarity comes, and that kind of predatory nature overrides the lust in that moment. He realizes that this is a trap, just like the traps he sets for people. He's being drawn in, and in a moment of self-control, he kind of rolls his eyes at her and then goes back to his food.
Several things happen at once. You roll your eyes. There is this change of atmosphere as that sensation of awe dissipates, other than from the other end of the table where the muckety mucks are in your mind, and hers becomes one of aggression. Her brow furrows, And you guys can see this. You can feel the tension rise as she literally picks her charging plate up with all the other plates on top of it, including morsels of food, and slams it back down on the table. She looks across at Armand, and she proclaims as everybody turns to look. I assume conversations cease with you guys and Russell. And she says, I can't stand rudeness. She stands up, pushing her chair back, turns to leave, and Armand simply holds up a hand and points a finger. Looks kind of go from Armand back to her. She has a hesitation where you can see that she wants to lash out. She wants to, like, she cuts a nasty look at you. She takes an imperceptible breath. Her face goes placid. She rights herself as the servants quickly rearrange her silverware and glasses as she's knocked them over. She sits quietly and places her hands in her lap with her head looking down at the table. Armand looks up, dings a spoon on his glass. We have guests, and as our tradition, we would love to be introduced to our guest en masse. Dr. St. Germain, would you please enlighten the rest of the family?
This is Luke Lennox, Javier Grillo, CJ Milliner.
Welcome, gentlemen. Mr. Lennox, how are you enjoying your dinner? Nobody speaks when he's talking.
Yes, it's the finest thing I've tasted in 15 years. I appreciate you greatly for giving this to me.
He gives a slight nod with a mild smile. Are you enjoying the hospitality? Are we taking good care of you?
I cannot ask for better. From anyone, anywhere. You're exceptionally kind.
Kind words, respectful. It will serve you well.
Thank you.
Mr. Dr. Germain, can you tell the rest of the family how things are faring over in Prince William?
The hospital is doing well. Mr. Javier has given us an addition to the hospital in the form of a blood and tissue facility. So expect there to be more dinners in the future.
He holds up his glass, looking at Javier, and he intones, Mr. Grillo. Everybody picks up a glass and intone in call and response fashion, Mr. Grillo, and they all take a sip. Your endeavors will not go unnoticed. I believe you are in good hands with Mr. Germain.
And as always, I couldn't do my work without Mr. Milliner, and ingrained himself with law enforcement and legal matters all over the city, has allowed the business and the family to grow.
Again, he raises his glass, nods to Mr. Milliner. Mr. Milliner! And everybody raises a glass and toasts Mr. Milliner.
Now, the politics of the domain. The Camarilla demands a blood tax from us.
He, for the first time, seems a little stuttered. Demands a blood tax from us.
Correct.
There are, at this point, several murmurs between people as they turn and lean and whisper certain things. It goes around the table like a wildfire. He taps his glass once with a spoon and the murmurs quickly cease. You notice now that the room is empty of servants. Like they have all quietly exited the room. Happened probably without your notice, Luke, because your attention was on her and then on Armand. But all that's left in here are the people seated at the table and yourself. At this point, it probably feels a little more awkward.
Of course, I told them I would not agree with anything before speaking to the family at large first.
You know we don't answer to their tower.
Correct.
Mr. Milliner, are there obstacles that need to be overcome?
Believe they feel that they're going to go over what I'm understanding is called a promise, and I am not going to pretend that I know all the intricacies of said contract. However, I do know a couple of things that stand out about it. One, which we upheld to our fullest extent, is we did not engage in any disturbance of their politics in their domain, and we respected their traditions. Two, we attempted to show them that we have our jurisdiction and they have theirs, and any dalliances of their traditions that were interceded in our jurisdiction did not fall under their laws, and we handled the public situations accordingly.
Of course, my mic was muted. Armand picks up his glass and stands up and begins to walk about the dining hall and around the table as he continues to converse with you all. When he nears the corner where Luke is, he gives you a quick but cursory glance, turns back to his pacing and walking about. So this new prince, the Rose, Fiona, she disrespected you in front of the court of her domain?
Yes.
You can ask, and I'll gesture to the sombra of the room.
He follows your gesture. What have you to say on the matter? Gerard stands up. It is as they say. They were summoned by the prince. They answered the summons, and they were paraded in front of the domain and treated like children, dogs, who had peed on the floor. Very matter of fact. He doesn't get emotional about it. He just kind of reports his perspective.
Oh, and we were giving someone to oversee our business as well.
He doesn't bat an eye at that. Armand does look at Gerard in kind of confirmation. Gerard gives only the slightest nod.
I won't go into the details of that. We can do that in private.
We are in private. Anything you have to say on family matters can be said in this hall. And he turns on a heel to Luke. You are an outsider. You have accepted the hospitality of my home. And now I will ask you to step from the room.
He'll stand up and walk to the nearest exit.
They will take good care of you if you let them.
Thank you. I appreciate your kindness, and I will not forget your hospitality.
He doesn't pay you any more mind. He goes right back, waits for the large doors to be closed behind you with a loud and solid thunk. You can even hear a bar being pushed into place from the inside. The room's actually been barred. Servants quickly usher you to like a kitchen table where they again recreate your place setting, and even the food that you were being served is again served to you. A bottle, fresh one, is pulled out and sat in front of you. They answer whatever beck and call you might have, Luke.
He snaps. Can you give me more of those sausages?
At once, sir. And the guy that had instructed you to be more in charge is still your server, and he steps and fetches like his life depended on it. It really looks like that. There are people watching him.
He leans back and he feels oddly satisfied. He's never been waited on this like this his entire life, ever, even before his unlife began. And this is something new to him, and he likes it.
Your beast kind of laughs at you with a mocking chuckle. You look like a rube. Go shopping.
Hello, my name is Trevor Chapman, and I play Rico Suede on Prince William by Night, the Night Shift. I'm here to remind you that your mental health is a very important thing. We all have problems, and I do mean all of us. I personally have suffered from both clinical depression and suicidal ideation. Sometimes it can be hard to share our issues because we don't want to burden other people, or we're too afraid or ashamed of the things we have done or the feelings that we have to even try to reach out to other people. But friends and family are here for a reason. They would much rather hear that something is happening in your life and help you with it than to find out too late that they didn't even know and they couldn't even try. If you feel that you can't talk to your friends or family, there are other resources available for you to talk to. Please take advantage and reach out to them. There is no need for you to go through this alone. We all need help sometimes. There is absolutely no reason to feel ashamed or afraid to ask for assistance, especially if you need it right now. If you or someone you know is in crisis, whether they are considering suicide or not, please call the toll-free lifeline at 800-273-TALK to speak with a trained crisis counselor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline connects you with a crisis center within the Lifeline network that is closest to your location. Your call will be answered by a trained crisis worker who will listen empathetically and without judgment. The crisis worker will work to ensure you feel safe and identify options and information about mental health services in your area. Your call is completely confidential and free. Again, that number is 800-273-8255. If you are unable, unsure, or prefer not to speak in person, text the word NAMI to 741-741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor to receive free 24/7 crisis support via text message. You are not alone. Trained expert advocates are available 24/7 to provide confidential support to anyone experiencing domestic violence or seeking resources or information. Help is available in Spanish as well as other languages. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline toll-free at 800-799-SAFE. Again, that is 800-799-7233. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, help is available. call the National Sexual Assault Hotline toll free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 800-656-HOPE. Again, that is 800-656-4673. You will be connected with a trained staff member from a sexual assault service provider in your area that offers access to a range of free services. For the Disaster Distress Helpline, call 800-985-5990 or text the word TALK with us to 66746. This helpline provides immediate crisis counseling for people who are experiencing emotional distress due to any natural or human-caused disaster. This multilingual, confidential, and free helpline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, call 800-985-5990 or text TALK with us to 66746.